All right, so it is 10 after, so we'll go ahead and get started. We've got 15 people in the audience. So hello everyone, and welcome to the Trails second community meeting. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome, and for those of you who attended our first one, welcome back. I think that we'll start off. What we'll start off here with is another round robin of introductions for those of you that are new. So I am Teague, as my Discord name would imply. I'm the server owner, so the trail was my wild idea, and I begged, bribed, and tricked all these other jokers into following me. That's pretty much it as far as I'm concerned. Next up, we have the rest of the admin team, which consists of Morg and Rich. So if you guys want to take a few minutes just to kind of give the who's and the what's.
Morgrim. Age before beauty, man. Go ahead.
That's fuck. My name is Rich T. I'm one of the admins here. Yeah, this is awkward. I really don't like talking too much about myself, but no, I'm really happy that this place exists and the fact that I get to play with all of you lot. Morg included. Pretty cool.
Rich is also our Discord manager, and I think he does a real good job with evening out the admin team. So he's British by birth and Canadian by choice, so he brings a certain level of posh and compassion to things.
Wow.
Don't confuse posh with pretentiousness.
Wow.
Next up, we have Morg.
Yo, I'm Morg. I'm one of the admins. I also help Teague with the code, and we've been working on this code base for like 2 years now. It's kind of our baby at this point. It's really his baby, and he just lets me take care of it sometimes. I am not a code, I am the code. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. I help with the dev stuff, and I'm an admin, so I help make decisions that nobody wants to make. That's my life here. Hi.
And Morg is very humble in his introduction and describing his skill set. So he is miles above me from a development perspective, and a lot of the really cool stuff that you guys see on the server is has been his brainchild. Next, we'll move on to staff. We will start with Kat, who is our lead staff.
Hello. Up until now, I've mostly done work with intake. So spreadsheet queen, kind of my title. Also helping to do some organization and making sure stuff gets where it needs to be and chatting with everybody. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Semi new to role play compared to a lot of the folks on the staff team. So yeah, I really appreciated the the welcome I've got here, and I hope I can help make this a fun and fantastic spot to roleplay for everybody. So appreciate y'all.
And in no particular order of precedence, the rest of the staff team.
I'm going to take advantage of the silence that I have now. Hi, I'm Ula Jazer. I don't know why I waved in the air. I'm community manager here. So I do things such as the community sensing session and, take feedback from you guys, poke you guys, occasionally harass you to see how you're doing, and, kind of serve as a bit of a liaison here and there. And for those looking to plan events or want to figure out how to do something particular in role play, you just pop in a ticket, ping me, and then we go from there.
You know what? I'm glad that you said your full name there, because in my mind I've always said Jazzer versus Jazer.
It's either one. It just depends on your mood.
That's
Oh, hi, Allison.
I guess that's the South Carolina in me.
my god. Now that you think about it, should be Chazzard, actually.
All right, next up we have Tricky.
Hey guys, I'm the other friendly neighborhood Australian. Some of you guys might know my characters Rick Roxton and Henry Stormborn, the adventurer and the lawyer, both pains in the ass. I'm the whitelist manager here on the trail, so I'll be the one that is keeping track of everyone, what everyone's doing, and making sure that everyone's having a good time with the whitelist and getting those experiences where they can. And yeah, that's me. And I'll probably be going somewhere shortly from this conversation, so I apologize for life getting in the way. But I love you all, and I hope to see you out there on the trail.
Yeah, Tricky never stays still for too long, right? You can pull him into a conversation. It's like, hey man, what's going on? And then like he will disappear in like 5 minutes. Like, oh man, yeah, he almost gives like superhero vibes, right? Where he has to just kind of like run off, and then he pops back in. He's like, it always seems like he never slows down. Next we have
This is the way.
This is the way. All right. Next up we have Shat.
Hi everybody. Full name Evil Shatner, not real name, but close. I am a part of the LEO DOJ. Right now recruiting. I've been doing RP for a long time. I think I've sat down on my first RP session, pencil and paper and a dice roll in 1986. So it's a lot of fun. It's a good escape. That's why everybody's here. It's a fun way to spend your time. I don't really have much to say, honestly, other than have fun. If you have any issues, ticket. Be nice to each other and always be a yes and our peer.
I don't even think I could write in 1986.
I'm old, man. I am fucking old. I'm literally a grandmother, Teague. I have a grandchild.
Right. Next we have Lassie.
Hey everyone, Lazombra. And I kind of should have thought about this. When it comes to character separation, I never thought about actually having my name as Lazombra and having a character as Lazombra. It's really kind of hard to split the two, but I think we do okay. So I'm in charge of media, making clips, uploading them, in charge of the YouTube, along with Amber, who controls the Twitter and TikTok. So any clips you guys have, please feel free to post them so we can use them and do monthly reels and just get all those clips together for a nice little clip for the month. I'm actually thinking about breaking that down to maybe bi-weekly, just so they're shorter, because people's attention spans aren't great. So trying to keep them down to about 5 minutes long. So any clips you guys have, any funny stuff, dramatic stuff, anything that you deem worthy, just drop it down there and we'll use it. And then you get to see yourselves on YouTube and TikTok, of all places.
Yeah, and Lassie is also recruiting on the media side of things. So if anyone has a artistic skill set that you would like to contribute, feel free to reach out to Lassie and start up a conversation with him. He's always looking for other creative folks that he can collaborate with.
Yes, what Teague said.
And I believe last but certainly not least, we have Synth.
Now then, Synth. I'm on the intake team, and then just kind of help generally where's needed, testing and stuff. Yeah, that's about it from me.
A man of very few words.
Indeed.
And we do have another staff member who unfortunately is not able to join us tonight. That is Amber, who is leading up all things medical. And like the other staff members, she lends a helping hand where where it's needed. So you guys might see her in the application and interview team. You might see her making community announcements, or if you get too silly in Discord, you might see her interject herself and tell you to calm down, or try and redirect. And I believe that's everyone, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
Sounds
so.
sounds good to me. All right. So let's take a quick look at the agenda. So Uber held a community sensing session last night, and the purpose behind that was to kind of take everyone's questions as far as development is concerned, just so that this meeting in itself doesn't stretch out for like 2+ hours. Because while I do appreciate everyone taking the time to join us here, I certainly don't want to. I certainly don't want to waste anyone's time by keeping them in in an extended meeting. I myself, IRL, I'm in meetings most of the day, and so in my free time, one of the things that I don't want to do is sit in another meeting, even if it is something as cool as the Trail RP server, right? So one of the first things that I want to talk about here is community growth. So we have been public for 2 weeks now, and we've seen a significant growth in our Discord. At the end of our friends and family, I think we're sitting at around 125 members, and right now we are at 502. So insert math. That's how much we've grown over the past 2 weeks. So we've got quite a few folks that have popped in to check things out, which is great. In addition to that, we have a pretty healthy backlog as far as applications go. Right now, we have 58 people that are waiting for interviews, with another 242 that are on the on the trail tag, which means they either are waiting to submit an application, or their application has been submitted and it has not been reviewed. So for those of you that are tuning in out there with the waiting for interview tag, please be patient, or waiting for interview or on the trail tag. Please be patient. I promise you're not stuck in limbo, and the interview and application review team is working their way to you. I think we might have underestimated just a tad bit how busy things were going to be right out of the gate, but we are working on growing the interview team to compensate. So the interview team will certainly get to you. Might take a bit more time, but I do apologize for the wait. And hopefully, once you go through your interviews and get your allowed listed tag and join us, hopefully the wait would have been worth it. So with that said, I'd like to take a few minutes, unless anyone else has anything additional they want to add to those few points there. Okay.
Sounds good.
So with that said, I want to take a few minutes to touch on the tone that we're looking to achieve here on the trail. We covered this a lot in the first community meeting, and I think I don't want to sound like a broken record, or I know some of these things might sound a little bit overused, but in short, what we're looking for is just quality role play, right? We want to set a realistic tone in the RP. I certainly want to encourage all of the RPers out there to tackle more complex topics, right? More adult and gritty topics within the scope of our rule set, of course, right? So what we're looking for, a serious RP with the occasional spot of humor, right? And then also we're looking for folks that are willing to collaborate with one another, right? It's definitely okay to lose an RP in all aspects, right? Whether you're LEO, law, or just a civilian, right? And there can be fun and character development in losing, just as much as there is in winning, right? So I think that's kind of like the core of what we're looking for here. I don't know if that makes sense to everyone, but certainly willing to field any questions and or additional comments from anyone on the stage that has anything to contribute to that.
Yeah, no, I'll jump in a little bit. I like my character's a marshal, and you know, even last night, a couple of us were on the hunt for a particular group. Yeah, and you know, the story got really goddamn good, and it ended with us both parting ways on 2 occasions, and like no guns were fired. It was so dynamic and engaging and tense. There were no wins and losses in there. It was 100% RP win, and I would like to thank the Elios and Shalom's doctor character for being there, in addition to the dreadful strawberries of Strawberry that were there. Genuinely appreciate that. That was dope. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, and you know, on that topic, I would like to spotlight one of the members of the community, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce your name here, but the character that we've all known and loved is Eli Roach, right? So one of the things that I like to see is when people are true to the characters that they're creating, right? And they get immersed in those characters, and they I like that. I really dig that. And it shows a certain level of commitment that I think we should all strive to. You know, hashtag meta or borderline meta. Eli found himself in a very precarious position where he was bitten by a snake, and found himself without any anti-venom. And as things progressed, he wasn't able. He was searching, right? He was searching, but he just wasn't able to get help in time, and was incapped. And then he rolled the dice on it, and unfortunately, that meant that didn't bode very well for his character. But you know what? He was like, "Hey, this is what the universe says." And so he permaed his character, which I thought was amazing. Certainly hate to lose such a dynamic character as Eli, but I can definitely 100% respect the commitment. So in addition to that, it also allowed us to roll out something net new that we've been toying around with, which are customized headstones. So Eli was one of the ones that his character got to be the first citizen of Sequoia that has officially died. And as such, I went in and was able to create him a headstone, which I'm not going to tell you guys where it is. You'll have to find it in RP. But it's a really cool mechanic. You walk up to the headstone, you get a notification, and then you press G, and it pulls up the headstone so you can read the inscription. This is something that I'd like to offer anyone who decides to perma on the server, just so that you have a place where you can keep that character alive, right? And so whenever you perma the character, they shouldn't just vanish into the background, right? So I'm a firm believer that any of the characters that we create are an extension of ourselves, right? And it's only fair if you have a place where you can go back and reconnect with that person or persons if you really need to, right? So that's something that I'd like to offer everyone in the community without sounding too sappy about it. But really cool though.
People were asking if they can rob his grave because that's what Eli would have wanted.
I know. I see.
Yeah, find the grave and see if you can.
It's so great.
But I think it would add a certain level of irony. So.
Yes.
And there's no telling what you might find there. But I think it's a cool little feature, and that's one of the things that I like about what we've been able to do here with the trail. There are a lot of Red M servers out there. If any of you, which I'm sure you all have taken a minute to just look at the CFX Red M server list, right? There's the market is saturated with Red M servers, and a lot of them, not all of them, and I certainly don't want to knock other people's creative visions or anything like that, but a lot of them are just copy and paste. But things like the custom headstones, and things like that, or what I really dig about the trail and this gig, right, is being able to being able to create and introduce the player base to those small customized things that hopefully facilitate RP and kind of give this place a special meaning. Let's see, what else do we have here? What are the goals for the trail? So I think we kind of touched on the goal setting. Basically, what we're looking here is to provide a stable and I don't want to. I feel like if I say safe, that like it feels too like overly PC. But I certainly want everyone to feel comfortable to tell stories within reason, right? There's just some topics that we're not going to touch on. But yeah, so we're just looking to host or facilitate a collaborative and inclusive environment here for the purposes of storytelling. Let's see, expectations for various scopes of the server: civilian, criminal, and law. So we touched on a lot of this stuff in the first community meeting and then the sensing sessions that have followed. And the big thing there, I would say, is know when to win, know when to lose, right? And it's certainly fine to do both, but also character integrity, right? As I was talking about earlier, stay true to the character that you created, right? So if you're a doctor, right, don't run around with like 2 long arms and 12 bandoliers on and go bounty hunting, right? Just go be a doctor, right? Just take it slow, do doctor stuff, get really like immerse yourself into the character. We have seen a huge influx in Crimvillians, right? Which I know I'm going to catch a little bit of flack, but the intent here certainly is not to offend anyone, right? But sometimes servers just need those civilians, right? Or that Johnny or Janie mind your own business. That just come in, want to plant corn and go to sleep, But we have seen a huge influx in Crimvillians, people that take on these civilian jobs, but they want to add like this criminal element to it or this flair to it, which I get. If folks want to explore and they want to keep things in their minds, keep things exciting, but not everything has to be criminal. And then it gets kind of boring when everyone's in that gray area, right? So as far as the LEOs are concerned, we are potentially looking at increasing our LEO ranks. Tricky, who manages the whitelist, is also looking at running some numbers for us, and he's going to tell us how many slots we have available for all whitelisted jobs. And what we're doing with the whitelisted jobs, or the allowed listed jobs rather, is we're trying to make sure that it's evenly dispersed, not only across the server, but across the different time zones as well. So that's kind of the logic that we're using to dictate who gets those slots, right? We want to make sure that we don't have a oversaturation on the EST or GMT or anything like that. So bear with us as we take and work through that. A lot of it, of course, is going to depend on server population as well as activity. But if you have shown interest or raise your hand and said, "Hey, I want to do this allowed listed job," you will go on the wait list, and we'll get to you as your turn comes up. So please definitely be patient with us on that. But in addition, you don't necessarily need a whitelisted job to have role play. And you don't need a specific mechanic. It's super sexy and it helps, but it's not necessarily a need to have, right? And I really dig when people kind of get back to like the grassroots of role playing, like just using /me's or pretending that you're doing something. I think it really kickstarts the imagination, and it aids in creativity and development. Let's see, what else do we have here? Future plans for government. So government is something that I feel, much like the economy, it's a bit tricky to try and get it right. What we're going to be rolling out here at some point in time is a very condensed or simplified version of a government. And most of that, actually, the reason for that is, as I stated, I believe it was in Gen chat earlier today, is government RP it's not everybody's thing. and there's a small niche group of people that really get into the political RP. But once I have that structure finalized and something that not only I but the rest of the team up here on the stage agree on, then we'll roll that out and start looking to filling in those positions. Right now, we are gauging interest just to see how many people would be willing to be a governor or be a lieutenant governor, be a clerk of the courts, right? Just so that we can work on refining those lanes and responsibilities on the back end. And eventually, what the output of that would be is hopefully, for the elected positions, we'll see some people that go around and start campaigning, right? Morg has been brainstorming on a really neat in character voting system, which I think would be very cool. And it'll give another element to both LEO and criminal RP, right? So I believe as the idea as it's designed right now, the voting booths rather will be at the sheriff's office, right? So it'll give the LEO something to do with guarding those booths, and if the criminals find LEOs lacking, they could potentially creep up on those booths and intimidate people to vote a certain way, depending on if a certain governor or certain elected official has that group of people in their pocket, which I think would be absolutely amazing to see that type of conflict RP, right? So conflict RP doesn't have to always involve a gunfight, right? So stuff like that, I'm really excited to see it develop. Next, we have medical RP and injury RP. So for those of you that are not familiar, everyone has access to a PED menu. You can access that via F8, and that will bring up a menu that allows you to not only change your walk style, but it has a series of emotes and things like that. But you'll see a category there called overlays, and those overlays allow you to add injuries to your PED. And it's a wide variety of things. So you can add things like bloody knuckles or busted lip or broken nose, or excuse me, I'm messing with my mic here, or black eyes. And then there's some really intense stuff there, like animal attacks, gunshot wounds, stab wounds, and things like that. So it's just things for you guys to be able to use to kind of help to facilitate med RP, and also make it a little bit more fun for folks, right? So if you get hemmed up out in the woods somewhere, you get into a gunfight, you can throw on an overlay and then go to the doctor's office and actually and hopefully it'll help you to RP out those injuries and make things more exciting, not only for you but for your attending physician as well. There's also a guide for injury RP that we've got that's been distroed. I would highly recommend that folks take a look at that. If there's anyone that has not been able to find that, just let one of the staff members know, and we'll make sure that is readily available. But it's just some really good tidbits on how to RP injuries, and I think there's some really good stuff in there. So I would encourage everyone to check that out.
It has been added to the official guides. It's the very last thing. So that is available to all y'all.
Well, there we go. Okay, next is pacing. So pacing when not only when it comes to whitelisted jobs, but also whenever receiving services from those whitelisted jobs. So we've got some pretty dedicated folks that are in those allowed listed positions. Take gunsmithing and horse training, for example, right? Lassie has a very granular process that he goes through whenever he's crafting a weapon, right? And he's put a lot of time and effort into putting together like just different sound effects and things like that. And that's more so for his quality of RP, right? And of course, like he shares that with the person, right? And I think that's something that all good RPers do, right? Not only are you, whenever you develop a story or a character, you want to share that with the other person as well. And so whenever he goes and he's creating a weapon, it may take a couple of hours or a couple of days, right? So certainly level set expectations as far as pacing is concerned whenever it comes to that. And same with horse training, right? So the horse trainers have a very similar process where it takes them a couple of days to train a horse from net new from the stables to all nines, right? And certainly I don't want to see anyone trying to rush that process because honestly, you're being greedy when it comes to that point, right? Not only are you're trying to cut someone else's RP just to bolster or facilitate your own, which isn't fair. And if and these people in these allowed listed positions, they have the right to refuse service. So if you come in and you want a horse and the horse trainer says, oh, it's going to take me a couple of days, and if you get irate, then they can just tell you to go kick rocks, and there's nothing wrong with that. You yourself can add XP to your horse just by interacting and riding with it. So if you piss off a horse trainer, then you might see yourself just riding around tick farming because no one wants to help you. And I certainly wouldn't fault anyone for or anyone with an allowed listen position denying someone service just on those grounds, right? And if you were in that position, I'm sure you would do the exact same thing, right? So these allowed listed positions, they are here to service the community, right? Not necessarily to prop yourself up and put you in a position where you're cornering any one thing on the market, right? So keep that in mind for those of you that are looking for an allowed listed job, right? The core purpose of those jobs is to provide a service for the community. And at any point in time, if you see anyone that's abusing, a position, put in a ticket, right, so that we can review it. Let us know. Not saying that we should all. I mean, I don't see it as tattletelling or narking or anything like that, right? I think we're hopefully, at some point in time, we'll all become vested in this community, and I think the staff and the admin can only do so much as far as setting the tone. But we need help from the general community as well, right? So help us build this place to be something that we all want to RP and hang around for a bit. Let's see. TRP casting call. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. So, per request of one of the members, or actually two of the members, there was a request in regards to having a channel or an area for people to find others that want to fulfill certain role play roles, such as family or people from someone's background or things like that. So now we have a channel for that. It's not for chatter. It's just for someone to post, hey, I'm looking for someone to fulfill this role. These are some of the details. You react to the post with a thumbs up, and then that person will then reach out to you in order to discuss more details. This isn't meant to script role play as well. Just get a general idea of a character, have those pre-connections, and then come in for the organic role play as a result of that.
Yeah, and so it enables us to break out of our dyads, right, and triads and all the regular group of folks we get to RP with, because sometimes we kind of fall into that. So with this way, you can kind of line up stuff with other people and create that really cool content.
Yeah, very cool. So whoever it was that proposed that idea, thank you. I really dig it. But yes, so just to confirm, it's not going to be a meta channel, right? It's just for recruiting, purposes. Also, I would encourage everyone to take a look at the character intros channel, right? Feel free to throw in a quick blurb about the character that's remaining, right, and give everyone an intro to them. You might find someone that has like a very similar character or similar interests, right? And it's a new way of making connections. And I think the last item we have here is development. So for those of you that are not tracking, there is a development roadmap on the website, which provides a very high level overview of the things that Morgan and I are going to be working on over the coming months. One of the things that we haven't done is we haven't committed to any specific timelines as far as that concerned, because development is something that ebbs and flows depending on the stability and the state of the server, as well as the needs of the community. As it sits right now, we're not taking any type of customized ask or custom ask for players. We're focusing on the larger big block things that are going to benefit the community as a whole versus smaller individual asks that facilitate RP for a smaller group of people or one specific area. So at any point in time, if you put in an ask for something and you're told no, that's not the admins or the staff being trying to be dismissive or rude or anything like that. There's a little bit of a method behind the madness, but I won't go too much into development talk, just because that's a whole rabbit hole that I promised that we wouldn't get into at the top of the call here. And I believe that's all of the talking points that I had on my side. So I think what we'll do here is just open it up to any general questions or comments from the community, as well as anyone else on the stage. And I think we'll go for about another 15 minutes or so. We'll try and wrap this up at 10 p.m. Eastern, because that is the one true time zone.
EST's best time zone. Don't
Yeah. All right. So
Left coast, best coast.
what have you got? The GMT's where it's at. All right. So what have you guys got out there? Don't be shy. Well, now everyone's on the time zone.
Well, actually,
Guarma.
It's AEST because we're in the future. So suck it.
Guarma is something that Guarma will come, as will Mexico. We just have to find the right time to do that. Right. Right now, my focus or our focus is mainland Sequoia. Right. Making sure that we've got everything set up there, as far as not only from a mechanics perspective, but just from a support structure. So like the government, and we want to make sure we've got solid LEO and judicial system, and make sure that all of that is good before we start opening things up too broad. I have not thought about that, whether or not Guarma will have any relations to the ongoing Spanish-American War. I haven't. I know that's something that Patrick, you're really passionate about. But if I'm honest, I haven't. I haven't thought anything into it. But if that's something you can certainly push on your own. You don't necessarily need admin or staff intervention to do so. I know one of the items you were talking about was collecting gear for the troops. I mean, you can by all means do that on your own. Just collect stuff, and then with the intention of donating it in character, and then dispose of it as you will.
Just jumping in real quick about Miss Giselle and asking about tall trees and lore. Tall trees is a forest and has stuff in it, and let's make our own lore. Let's do some really cool stuff. Let's not lean into stuff that's been done anywhere else. Let's create our own stories and our own lore.
Yeah, we're starting with a completely blank slate here. If anyone has any cool ideas, feel free to roll with it and create things. The lore as we've outlined it, you can find on the website, and basically what we're doing is we're just sticking to the history of the United States up to this point in time.
And I just want to point out, when we do implement Guarma, it's not being called Guarma here. It's called Isla de la Hamish.
Okay, so what else you guys got? Oh, Morgan and I spent the good portion of the day working on or refining the steel blow logic, right? So Morg pointed out that the math that we had in place conflicted with just like Lua in general. So we went through to refine that a bit more. So for those dirty moonshiners out there, you might get a bit of a reprieve on stills blowing up.
I'm gonna go through there are some questions.
Just so everyone knows, it's Luna's fault.
Miss Iridescent asks, I know it has been brought up yesterday, but the possibility of a higher payout for something for risk or reward for the criminal act. We got $12 when we did it last time. It was fine. Was 75.
I'm assuming you're talking about store robberies, right? That uses just random logic. So there's there's a set scale there, right? So I think the lowest payout is like 10 and the highest is like 300, right? So once again, it's just random logic, and you never know exactly what it is that you're going to be getting. But I will say that bank robberies are going to come within the next couple of days. So that's a little bit something on a higher scale that people can look forward to.
But no one's going to rob banks because that's illegal.
Yeah. That's a
No,
federal-
nobody's going to rob banks because
federal
LEOs are
crime.
never on.
Oh, more.
Oh, cheap shot. But yeah, so with the way that that works, if you guys find yourself in a position where you're trying to rob a public outlet of some sort, right, and you're just not able to do it, it is broken up by the number of LEOs that are online in that jurisdiction, right? So just to make things fair, and then also to keep people from farming stores and banks and stuff like that. So if you find yourself in a position where you're trying to rob something and it's just not working, then more than likely it's because the appropriate number of LEOs are not online.
Is there a chance of upping the max money you can get each day, or maybe different jobs different jobs separate from others? At times, it almost limits RP, as some crim things just aren't worth doing. With the time limit stopping you from doing it.
So I'll speak to that. Literally none of the crim stuff is capped.
Yeah, none of the crim stuff.
How
is
is
capped.
that limiting anything?
So the limits come from relying on AI mechanics for no. So that is a cooldown, right? It's not a cap. It's not an income cap. It's a cooldown, right? So it is to keep people from just like mass spamming things, right? So based on previous experience, we've had people that would go around and they literally would spend hours just grave rob. They'd find like a secluded spot, and then they would spend an hour robbing the same grave, or they would just hop around from store to store, just mass robbing everything. So that's the reason for the cooldowns, is to kind of help folks or encourage folks to pace their criminal activity a bit. But the payouts that you get from store robberies, from grave robberies, and stuff like that, actually, I think that we didn't put a cap on selling to the fence, did we?
Yes, we did.
We did.
That was by design. So here's the
Not
thing, guys.
play.
Selling moonshine to a fence makes it a no risk for reward situation, which is not what we want here. So yes, there's a cap on selling things to the fences. It's the same $600 cap. You're not going to get rich by selling to the NPC fences. You have to do player RP to get around that.
Yeah, which is true, and that was the whole design there, right? Is to work more toward facilitating player-to-player transactions versus players relying on mechanics, right? And that's the ultimate goal would be at some point in time. I would like to see all of these AI shops disappear, right? And then everything is ran by the players. So I would, at some point in time I won't say near future, because it's going to take us a while to work up to that. But at some point in time in the future, I would like 100% ran player economy. And this is like one of those things where we're helping to steer it in that direction. And so as more people get comfortable with player-to-player transactions and building those different business models, whenever we take those AI stores away, it won't be such a hard transition. And eventually, one of the things we're going to be doing or rolling out to are going to be purchasing businesses and business licenses and stuff like that. So that and in addition to player owned shops, which that'll be probably in like phase 2 of things, which will help to set up for that player ran economy transition.
So there's been a question in here put by Kat, or a statement that I just want to touch on, if you don't mind, around scenes and crime. So crime RP is something that is very, very close to my heart. Very, very, very close to my heart. I enjoy it thoroughly. So when folks are going to be engaging in crim RP, like grave robbing or store robberies, it is a give and take, right? So it's all, you know, pogs per minute for just like ripping off a store and then just bouncing. It is an expectation that there's a give and take, right? You have to be able to leave some breadcrumbs that would eventually lead to your character, right? Because otherwise there's just no RP. You're just going to a store with your lockpicks, doing the mechanic, and then fucking off. And like that's kind of lame, right? So if you're going to be engaging an RP that is criminally related with the store robbery mechanic or the grave robbing mechanic, again, I don't want to highlight Eli even more, but like he was very good at doing that kind of thing when it came to grave robbing, you know, like dropped a scene to just leave some breadcrumbs. So just kind of take that into consideration, that it is a back and forth. It's not just a fourth.
Yeah. So in addition to that, I'm a firm believer that scene crime is a crime in itself, right? So if you're one of those that likes to set up scenes where you've whacked, countless amounts of NPCs, right? And you're like, oh, a mutilated body stands here. Or there's a dead cow over here, right? All that's evidence that can be used against your character, right? So yeah, I mean, scene crime in my mind is a crime as well.
Yeah, and when we redid scenes, one of the things we specifically laid out is if you do scenes, the whole scene crime thing where nobody's around, and then the next day we find a bunch of scenes that are like, oh, a dead person lays here and a person's pinned to the wall here. We treat that as you actually killed the locals. Just FYI.
Yeah, and then also one of the things that that we don't want is someone rolling a serial killer without going through the ticketing process and letting us know or discussing it with us. I think with serial killers or multiple murders, whatever the label is that we want to put on it, it can get out of hand like really quick. I think in a server long ago, a person had come in and we're like, hey, I want to play this is the idea that I have for a character. He's a serial killer. And we're like, yeah, sure, let's do it. That sounds cool. And within like literally within 20 minutes, he had I'm using air quotes as if you guys can see it, right? He had killed like 5 people, right? And left up scenes about the entrails being strewn here, and there's I think he had like cut somebody's face off and stuff like that. I'm just like, what the fuck is that? I mean, forget about pacing, but so it's one of those things where like I've seen it done really well, and then I've seen it done very poorly.
I want to touch on a question that was asked earlier, if that's all right. Where is it? Scupper asked
No,
it
it's
was about
okay.
horse thievery. Where's your question? So many people typing.
Horse thievery.
He was asking about
anyway.
Yeah.
So just to point out, so that's fairly low on our roadmap right now. It's still in the design stages. But what I can say as far as the design goal, we still have to hammer out the specifics, because we need to come up with a situation where, like say I want to steal Rich's horse. I need to make sure that people can't just stick it in a barn so it's never seen again, things like that. we need to come up with a way, just like our other crim mechanics, so that it's fair on both sides, where you can both get away with it, but also get caught with it.
True. Okay. Anything else outstanding that we might have missed, or if we overlooked by anything? It's not certainly not by design. We are at the top of the hour. I want to make sure that we're respectful of other folks' time.
You know what we could do is we could just close this out and go up into Gen Chat and have a general discussion up there if folks have got more questions.
Oh,
Put
just
on
got another question.
one question. Is there any plan or ideas to add something or change edit to pin boards so the posters are automatically taken down after storms or logouts? So the pin boards is something that I've been neglecting right now. Stripping them is a manual process, and I originally said that I was going to clear the pin boards on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, which I haven't done so yet. But you, as the author of the of a poster, can go in and take it down at any point in time that you choose. Right now, you can't take down other people's posters, but that's something that yes, we will automate in the future.
I've got Slayer's asked a question about dual wielding.
Yeah, so dual wielding, with the way that works is you have to there's a training process in character that you have to go through, right? So the issue that I have with people coming up with these automatical like backgrounds of their character is, people will come in and, like, if you open it up to so like everyone can do it, then everybody and their grandma is going to dual wield, right? So there's a training process that you have to go through in character. So find a gunslinger, ask them to help train you. And it's a skill that is learned over time versus someone just popping up in state and has the ability to dual wield.
And if Michael was a good guy, maybe he could have sided up to his new best friend Nathaniel. Just saying.
And I think right now we've got three. We've got three on the server so far. One of which has just recently gone through that training process.
Yeah, and we have like both both sides of
So-
the spectrum when it comes to that training, right? So it's not going to be locked to just civs or just crims. We're thinking
So as far as the native crafting is concerned, I mean that's just restricted to tribes, right? So the idea there is to provide those that are native RPers something that is unique to them, something that they can they can have, right? So I think one of the things that we see a lot is whenever you introduce a net new mechanic, everybody wants it, right? And then it's not special anymore. So if you want to become a native crafter, create a tribe, join a native tribe. Also with the one of the last point that I'll make here is one of the announcements that I made earlier as far as gangs and jobs, right? So with the way with gangs, you're going to be allowed, if you're part of a formal gang, you're going to be allowed one allowed listed job in each category, right? And so the idea there is that we don't have people that are trying to stand up criminal enterprises of any kind, because as I said previously, the core purpose of all of these allowed listed jobs are to support the server, instead of just kind of having one person that has the corner on a specific item and then refuses to interact with the rest of the server. Okay, it is 10:04. We've gone 4 minutes over, which means that I'm a liar because I said we were going to stop at the top of the hour. But yeah, so I will pop down into Gen Chat if anyone else wants to just chat or talk about anything else. But I certainly don't want to keep the bulk of folks here just to hear me ramble about stuff.
Yay!
Second community meeting done.
Yay!
Appreciate you all. Thank you.
Yep, go get on the server. Everybody, go get on the server. Now, go do it.